From Bears Last Stand to Saban's empire, we built the league, broke the mold, and rewrote the code. Crimson Tide, unstoppable, undeniable, untouchable. 7-9 champs, goal line stand. Barry Cross made Penn State fold their hand. Chile ran, Ogilvie danced. Sugar Bowl glory, banner advance. Ray Perkins brought Bennett's wrath. 3-time All-American cleared the path. Bill Curry's crew, Siren Stacy's fire. Deep steep crown, crimson never tired. Gene Stallings, 92 rain. Teague stripped Miami, left them in pain. Jay Barker Lassick, Odin Tide. Langham locked down, Thorpe took flight. We're nothing but a winner. The best to ever do it. Crimson Tide rolls deep. No one cannot do it. Built for the light, bred for the fight. We don't chase greatness, we define it right. Saban touchdown, turn fire to flame. 6 rings later, they chant his name. And Graham ran wild, first Heisman won. 2009 Texas came
Roll Tide, Alabama Nation, Roll Tide coming at you with a special offensive, offensive press conference. They spoke with a couple of guys on the team and offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. So I just want to bring that to you, interject my comments. And when you watch these things, what are you listening for? What do you want to hear Ryan Grubb say to you to make you feel a little bit better? Well, I have about 5 things I want to hear him talk about. I want to talk about this struggling rushing attack. Alabama's ranked 120th nationally in rushing, 126th when you talk about rushes per yards per rush, 3.2. Now, I will tell you, 3.2 times 3 is 9.6. Add in a tush push using Josh Cuevas, that's first down. I also want to hear him talk about these slow starts, frequently starting slow. Why? And not just a feeling out. Like, Nick Saban ain't blown up too many good teams out in the first quarter. But, just feeling out. We're not doing the feeling out. It's like, what is it? What was this? We playing softball or football? It's just like, we just totally sleep. 17-0, why? We can't I don't mind leaving a quarter down by 7, 17. God dang. Offensive protection from a quarterback. Why are we inconsistent? Is it because of the rotation, third down, regression from years in the past? Why are we so bad on third downs? Our defense is that much better, or we just calling stupid plays? And I also want to hear say something about the lack of elite run blocking. See, it's 2 things going on. Is the play calling about the runs, like, case in point, the wide receiver runs across the whole formation, then he comes back, then he fakes back, then he sets up to the left behind the quarterback. What do you think about? No. To the 7-year-old girls watching this program, what play you think you're going to run, little girl? Everybody know what they're going to run. You put Daniel Hill in the game, you have an ideas about 3 things they might do. They may throw it to him. They may run straight up the middle. And the other 3 things is just got to prepare for everything else. When Jam is in the game, they have balance because he can pass block. Why can't everybody pass block? Lack of elite run blocking, and why our running backs don't block. These are the kind of things I want to hear about. So let's give them a listen. Let's see what we got here. Yep. Right there.
Coach Grubb make an opening statement and go right into questions.
Yeah, I just was going to say it's an honor to be in the Rose Bowl. Played a few games there, but never in the actual Rose Bowl. So just really fired up to go against the number 1 team in the country. See Mendoza in person, Heisman Trophy candidate, or winner, I should say, and heck of a quarterback and just a great staff. They do a great job. So looking forward to the opportunity.
All right, thanks, Coach. Let's start on the far right here to Nick.
Yeah, what's the biggest thing you want the offense to carry over from the second half of that Oklahoma game?
Their resiliency. What they showed, is what we felt they've been capable of all year is when the chips are down, you got to be at your best, play to our standard, not the circumstances, and I thought, that was what they did. And, we've preached that for quite a while, or I have anyways, that, we got to play to our standard, in practice and in games. And when it's not perfect, that we don't, fall down to the circumstances and fall out of love with the game when all of a sudden you're down a couple touchdowns or something. And I just thought they played so hard, and Ty was, I thought at his all-time best, in my opinion, just the way he was, his resiliency on the sideline, his mindset, just the things he was saying in between series. There just was a belief that, if I was down there playing with Ty, I would have believed, like, we're going to get this done. So I think that unwavering belief and just the guys with a really, really tough start, obviously, the football game, that they, knew they could move the football on these guys, had done it before, and just stuck to the plan.
Go to far left. Chase?
My question's similar to that one. I want to ask you more about Ty in the Oklahoma game. He obviously played better in the second half than the first half, but apart from just performance, did you also detect a different Ty in terms of the intangibles, confidence, poise, command, things like that in the second half versus the first half? And if so, where do you think that might have come from?
I did for sure. And I think, as far as where it came from, I think that there was a mindset going into the game that was embedded in Ty. And I think that it was one that you saw in the Georgia game earlier in the year and things like that, where there was a little bit of the just let it rip mentality, not worrying so much about, what's going on around him or, how this could affect anything else other than just playing, and obviously for a 22-year-old young man, that's a lot of pressure. And, I think he did a good job of just stay in love with the process, be in the game plan, be ready for the game, and let it keep building and adjust as you go in the game and get ready to make the play. And I just think he was in that moment. He was in the zone as far as just staying locked into the game. And I really felt like he knew that we were going to make a play, and that, we got a couple man coverage looks that we had been wanting, that we won on, and was, Lottie got it all sparked when he hit that third down on a man opportunity. And I just felt like Ty was going to be ready for that moment. That's how I felt talking to him on the headset, was just that if we got that moment, he was going to make the throw and we were going to make the catch. And, we did, and we kept capitalizing on those moments.
Let's go to Charlie on the far right side.
With Indiana, they're kind of at the top nationally in just about every statistic you look at.
Yep.
When you watch them on film, kind of what jumps out immediately?
Really disciplined defense. They play very disciplined. They're exactly where they're supposed to be. They execute their system at a really, really high level. They tackle really well. And I think one thing I see that we've been challenging our guys on, they defeat blocks, and I wish I could tell you something way more sexy than that, but it's like they're really good at the little stuff, and that's what you see, in good defenses is teams that defeat blocks, run to the football, tackle well, force turnovers. They do all the little things really, really well, and that's what, we got to be ready for. Because you'll see plenty of plays on film where it's like, this play is developing, it's got a shot, it looks like it's going to be well executed, and then they just simply defeat the block, and they win at the point of attack. And so, just a good smash mouth team that you can tell are very well coached.
Go to Joe right in the middle of the room there.
Coach, I'd like to ask you about a specific play from that Oklahoma game in the fourth quarter. You're up 7, and Ty hits a 24-yarder to Jeremy Bernard down. It basically sets up the Daniel Hill final touchdown. Just what was your perspective on the play that Jeremy made with that reception, Ty's confidence to deliver the ball, and just kind of anything that you noticed in particular about that play and what it did for the team?
Nice.
Well, the first thing I think of is just exactly what you said, the confidence of him to throw the football. And Ty had a couple different options on that play. He didn't have to take that throw to Jeremy. So the fact that he chose to do that and put the ball down the field and play like that versus man coverage was, something that I thought was, just a good sign of things to come, that those two are on the same page, and the fact that he didn't overshoot the ball. And, Jerm, obviously, he underthrew it probably obviously more than he intended, but, that Jerm would make the play for him. And then the other part would just really, I thought, showed how in tune to the football game Ty was. That was their backup corner. we had talked about replacement players getting in there, and, he went right at him. And so I just thought it's, showed a lot of savvy on Ty's part.
The third row on the right, Mike.
Just what have these last couple of weeks been like for you with some of the shuffling, on the offensive staff, and just what does it mean to you to have Nick get the opportunity at Michigan State?
Oh man, Nick's much more than a coworker. He's a dear friend. I mean that. He's just an absolute stud. So, in this profession, you celebrate the wins for the good guys, and Nick's definitely one of them. So I think, for him, just being able to go take that next step. Nick has always been really, really good at building, and I think that's what you see with great coaches is guys that they just take steps. They just keep to, they develop. They stop somewhere. They're with people, they grow, and they become even better coaches. And I think that, for Coach Fitzgerald, he got a great one. So as far as for the staff, there's certainly some complications that go with those things. I would say, again, not to over-compliment Nick, but none of those complications have ever come from Nick. He has just been a total stud. If there's somebody that's up in the office as much as me, it's Nick. And he's always right there, to talk about whatever we're going through. So he's been great, and I think, his unwavering support and just even from the beginning when he first told me what was going on, one of the first things he said is, I'm here to the end, Grub. Like, I'm not taking the job until we go win this thing. So, and that was like statement number one. And it just says a lot about his character, kind of person he is. So super excited for him.
Let's go to the far left side of the room to Will.
Coach DeBoer said going into last game that he wanted you guys on the offense to add to your identity in the running game. That's a really good defense that you guys beat against Oklahoma, and then another really good one that you're going to face in the Rose Bowl. How do you think you guys can add to your identity in the running game in the Rose Bowl?
Got to get started earlier. We got to stop doing this first quarter shenanigans, waiting to get the run game going until the second and third quarter. We're capable of doing it earlier in the game. We got good enough players. The scheme's there. We just got to execute earlier in the football game. I didn't think, that's been our problem as of late, a couple games where we've gotten off to a slow start. That has not been the case all year, but some critical games where I just didn't feel like we were ready for the physical strain early on. And the guys know that. They're up for the challenge. And I think we'll see a different football team in the first quarter at the Rose Bowl.
Let's go to Blake on the back right.
Blake.
Yeah, what kind of impression have the early enrollees made for you this week in practice, specifically maybe Chad, your quarterback?
Blake?
None really yet.
Yeah. Focus,
Great guys. They really honestly haven't done anything yet. They've been out running around. I know Sedarian's been doing an awesome job over on the scout team for the defense, which is really cool. I know we got a couple of the young defensive players over with us, so I'm actually getting a better look at those guys than the offensive guys. And Jet played a little bit of catch last night. He really just got here, and so did Mac. So nothing yet, but just excited. It's kind of really a cool entry point for these guys into the program here at Alabama. Is just, we're on a playoff run. We're going to the Rose Bowl. I think, in their mind, I would think this is everything they signed up for. Is this is what they, want it to look like when they're in those seats.
Okay, we do have time for one last question.
Yep.
From the Zoom.
One more.
Katie Wyndham. Katie, go ahead and ask your
Thank
question.
God, female.
Yeah, hey coach, just what did you like about Ty's decision making against Oklahoma and really the whole offense and taking care of the ball, and how important is that going to be against an Indiana defense that's been pretty tough to score on this year?
Yeah, the turnover margin obviously was something that we harped on. That was we felt like that was the reason we lost the game the first time to Oklahoma, and so it was a huge point of emphasis for us. And honestly, I still didn't think we did a good enough job. The ball was on the ground a couple times that it shouldn't have been. And so, we just always say there's blood in the water when people see that. So obviously Indiana's watching that. They're good at getting the ball out. So we're putting a ton of emphasis on that as usual at practice. And so for us right now, I think that when you play tight football games in the playoffs and good defenses like this, we got to take care of the ball. We got to be careful with our decision making. And anybody that touches the football, we just tell them to imagine that's the whole state of Alabama handling the ball. So they got to take care of that thing.
All right, thank you, Coach.
You bet.
I believe we'll be joined by
Yeah, that question really sucked there, Blake. We're not really worried about them guys. They living the life. Do you know these guys could actually leave a high school playoffs where they may just be coming off of a state championship, a lot of them, or at least an appearance deep into the playoffs. Come to Alabama, go to the Rose Bowl in California. I think we got a couple players from California, but go, and then if I'm not mistaken, at some point, I think they could still change their commitment. I don't know why they would, but I'm saying they could and just go to the team of their heart's desire. I did want to report that Cam Howard, I think he transferred over from Wake Forest. He's decided to enter the portal. Cam was like,
wear myself out for the team? What team? No. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look out for myself and I'm gonna get mine. I'm supposed to.
Julie said it best. Hey, here on Tight Sports, we believe one thing first: take care of mama. So if he gets what he needs, hey, I wish that young man the best in his future endeavors. Now, I didn't want to feel like I was beating up. I want y'all to feel like I was beating up on Coach Grubb early in the video. I want to point out there are some strengths to our team. Number one strength is when we get inside the 20, this team is like Shaq in the paint. When we get inside that 20, Alabama is one of the nation's most efficient scoring teams inside the 20. 73.2% of the time, when we get in that red zone, we got a touchdown. That's number 11th in the FBS. And our defensive red zone number is not too bad either. We have elite. We're still elite in ball security. Turnover margins at +8, even though, and every time we get out of that is when the games get in jeopardy. They're very efficient in a passing backbone. 47.2% as far as our success rate when that passing attack that creates about 9.5 yards per attempt. And like he talked about, resiliency. We all have a resilient scoring ability despite the slow starts. When we show up, we start showing out. The aerial volume by this veteran core of receivers is pretty good. 270 yards a game, and that keeps you competitive when the run game ain't going nowhere, because that 270 probably is closer to 400 in some games and not in others. But I really do think if these people are going to beat blocks at Indiana, like he was talking about, they think they're going to beat blocks. They're going to have a long day. I think we're going to crush them. I think you just mash on these folks early, often. Keep to the short passing game when you need it, keep everything to second and less than 5. Give yourself a chance to pass the short passes because they like run zone. They open up your deep attack later, but mash on these fools. I don't think they got that in them, because I think that takes time. I think that takes time, and I don't think they've done that. So next up here, I think, is Ty Simpson, who's going to be addressing the media with a couple of questions. So let's go to QB1. Despite people talking about Keelan Russell is going to finish the season.
Joined by Ty Simpson. We'll go ahead and take questions for Ty. If you have a question,
Smooth Ty.
Start with Charlie on the far right.
Yeah, Ty, with Coach Sheridan getting an OC job, just what has he meant to you, and how happy are you that he's kind of sticking it out with you guys through the playoffs?
Certainly very proud of Coach Sheridan and what he's doing for himself and his brand and his career. He told us as quarterbacks, right, he wants to call plays, and then going back to Michigan, of course, with his family is very, very important to him. So just super proud of everything that he's done. And, he's very important to me, not only as a coach, but as a player and a person. Just because, somebody who I can always come talk to, whether, about football or life in general. So, super happy for him and his family, and it means a lot to me in my career.
Go to Joe in the middle of the room.
Ty, I want to take you back to the Oklahoma game, ask you about a specific play. In the fourth quarter, you hit Jeremy down the sideline that set up the Daniel Hill final touchdown. I just want to know maybe your perspective on that play. One, was it an RPO, and what did you see? What gave you confidence to throw it to Jeremy, and then Jeremy making the play and making the catch over the guy's head?
Yeah, how can I forget that play? So it was a RPO type play, right? There was a play before that actually that we ran a similar type play, and they had one-on-one with Ryan going the other way. And we came back to the sideline and we were like, hey, if we get another one-on-one chance, like, just, hear me out, or whatever. And so sure enough, right, like same type, similar play, bring a motion in, and had one-on-one, knew the corner was who the corner was. And, I wanted to give German a chance and knew the down distance and where we were on the field. So I was like, hey man, let's go get it, right. And German, outstanding play, nothing that I didn't expect him to do. Probably should have thrown him a better ball. But, big time players make big time plays in big time games.
Go to Nick on the far right.
What's that? Bart Scott. Bart Scott said
Coach
that.
Grove mentioned that he saw you have the kind of let it rip mentality, and that led to a lot of success in the Oklahoma game. How do you continue that and make sure that you bring that to the Rose Bowl?
I think one, it starts with just kind of the, not caring mentality. I talked about after the game about, how everybody just kind of wrote us off, me included, and it made me feel some type of way. And so, thank you guys, thank the media. It's kind of the same, mentality going in, right? Like nobody expected us to make it to the Rose Bowl. Nobody expected us to make it to the playoffs. So, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like just, forget the world. It's all about Alabama. And so that's, the mindset going in, and it's going to be the mindset forever, forevermore.
Go to Will on the far left side.
Obviously, a lot of storylines going into this game, but you're one of the guys that's been there before. What do you remember about the last trip to the Rose Bowl, and how have you come along this season to help you be ready for this one?
Yeah, first off, right, like growing up, playing in the Rose Bowl is a dream come true. It's such an honor because of the big time game and the implications. But I was talking to Terrion and Patrick Surtain on their podcast about this game, and just remembering one, how it started, right? Like I think Caleb got a pick, or something like that, something to where like the momentum had shifted. And there were just key plays in the game to where we could have put the game away, but we didn't. And I remember, that last play and we getting stopped, and how, Michigan rushed the field or whatever, and how we felt in the locker room, and just telling myself like, hey, if we ever got, this place again, to making sure that I do everything I can to make sure we don't feel that way. And that's kind of the mindset going in of, making sure that I'm crossing every T and dotting every I, of doing what I can to prepare like I've never won and perform like I've never lost. So that's kind of the mindset going in, and, understanding that, I understand the 1,000th win, if that's not mistaken, like a 1,000th win for Alabama, and just moving on with the season. So.
Go to Jamie in the back right.
Play like you never won.
Hey,
Like you
Ty.
never
So
won.
Indiana's undefeated, playing in the biggest game in school history. Does that add pressure for you, or does it make it more like, I'm ready to seize the moment?
Yeah, I think if anything, it's more exciting. Indiana is a really, really, really good team. Like I'm very impressed with what they're doing on film, what they've done throughout the season. Their defense, how disciplined they are, and what they do. And it just honestly makes, the stakes bigger, right? Like, number one team in the country, 13-0 Big Ten champions, got the Heisman Trophy winner, got one of the best third down defenses in the country. So, being able to go out there and play and perform and be a competitor is all you can ask for. So, the team's super excited, and the guys are, just ecstatic to be there.
Let's go to Chase on the front left.
Do you know Fernando Mendoza from camp travels or anything of that sort? And if so, what's that relationship like?
Yeah, I do not know Fernando. I do know people who do know him, and they say all great things about him, just not only as a player, but as a person. Watch his interviews and just very, very impressed with what he says and what he does. And especially, the tape speaks for itself. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. So, just as a player and a person, just ton of respect to him.
Go to Charlie, follow up with him on the far right here.
Just going back to Indiana's defense, when you watch them on film, kind of what jumps off the page first for you?
how, first off, how they all play together. Like, there's not one person on that defense who doesn't play for each other. They all fly to the ball. They all doing their job. Another thing is, how hard they play. They're always flying to the ball, like I said, like doing their job. And just how disciplined they are is the biggest thing. Like, they're always going to be in the right spot. They're always going to make sure that every blitz is, the right pattern, and they're going to disguise it very well. And that's what, got them to this point. They do a really, really good job on third down of distracting your eyes. And then on first and second down, they're going to make sure that they rally and tackle. So, we got to understand that we got to do our job. And make sure we stay on track. And that's the biggest thing on the first and second down.
All right, thank you, Ty. Appreciate it.
Woo, I got to give respect where respect is due. I knew I'd heard that before, but it's one of those quotes I think I forgot about. Practice like you never won, play like you've never lost. I think that's correct. That is attributed to the great Michael Jordan. Oh, man. Ty said some good things there. Yeah, give it up. Yeah. He's some people's GOAT out there. I'm a Michael Jordan. I'm a Magic Johnson is my favorite player, and I think the GOAT is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but that's for another place and time. But nice quote. I gotta implement that. Apply it to my my financial services business. Yeah, I gotta figure it out. Anyway, let's move on. Well, I think we got Jeremy coming up here next. Check out what he has to say. And Jeremy, I mean, no, he threw that ball just right. That ball did right what it's supposed to. Inspire,
Go ahead and get the question for
get a
Jeremy.
first down, and move us straight
Mike
forward.
Hughes.
There he is.
On the front right.
Oh.
Yeah, it looked like you got a special delivery from Randy Moss. Tell us about that and what that was like to get that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a dope moment, man. I didn't expect that to come. After we lifted, the other day, Ty was like, we got a present for Unc here. I'm like, what's the present? Like, we just got done lifting, we all sweaty and stuff, and like he presented me the glove, so it was cool to share that moment with my teammates.
Obviously, at Washington, you guys won the Pac-12 because of the geography of the old playoff format. Didn't get to go to the Rose Bowl. What is it going to mean to you to step on that field in this setting and with this team?
Oh man, I think it's a great opportunity for this team to be able to be back at a place that they lost 2 years ago. To have this opportunity to play again in a historic game and
you bring up old stuff.
Just make ourselves legendary. So I mean, everybody's excited for this game.
Let's go to Joe, right in the middle of the room.
Nick set me up here, but I'd like to ask you about that play in the fourth quarter, just kind of your perspective going up over the defensive back, maybe Ty's confidence in you to throw the football, kind of what that meant to you and maybe what you remember from that play.
Yeah, we kind of harped on taking more downfield shots, preparing for the Oklahoma game. We knew that we were kind of missing that in our offense. We had guys like Latsier and Isaiah Brooks that made great plays down the field. That really helped us in our game. And then I was just one-on-one coverage. Ty, he's been playing good all night. He trusted me, and then it was just me going up to make a play. Regardless of where the ball placement was, I knew I had to make a play in that critical moment, and I just couldn't let Ty down. He trusted me to throw that one-on-one ball, so I couldn't let him down in that moment.
Let's go to Blake on the back right.
Blake.
Yeah, what has Sedarian Morgan shown you in these first couple of days of practice as an early enrollee and just as a veteran? What advice do you have for him?
Man, he's gonna be a great player here. I'm excited to watch his growth and how he is going to succeed. He's a big receiver, obviously.
Yeah.
He listens very well. He takes coaching.
Thank God.
He's eager to learn. He's been really, really good, giving our guys on scout team a look. And so, I mean, it's exciting to see a guy like that come in early. It really helped me in the long run, and I think it's gonna help him even more elevate his game. So I'm excited to see his growth.
We'll take a question from the Zoom. Go ahead, Katie.
From the Zoom, Katie, the lady.
Ty thanked us after the game, the media, for kind of doubting and giving them an opportunity to prove us wrong. Is that something this team relishes, is the opportunity to prove people wrong, especially now as you face the number one team in the country?
Not necessarily. We're always just, focused on us and, playing our best game. But it obviously it adds an extra fuel to our fire, knowing that everybody is down us and nobody wants to see Bama win. So
nobody.
We put that on our shoulder and we just work harder.
Question standing up in the back left there.
Coach Grubb talked just about Ty's mentality with you guys going down 17. What was it like for you, for the entire offense, to kind of see the way he led in that moment?
Yeah, so Ty is a great leader for just his whole team, not just for the offense, but for him to lead the right way and have the right energy on the sideline, continue to encourage guys to continue to push forward through their adversity. We need that from our leader, from a key piece of our offense. It doesn't really, the offense doesn't really go unless he goes. So it was just great for him to have that energy on the sideline, because it just made everybody else go as well.
All right, we'll finish up with Nick here on the front right.
Yeah, one more question about the catch. How many guys have you mossed like that in your career?
I made a few cool catches within my career, but that definitely is at the top, man. To be able to do that in a critical game, in a critical moment, that's something that you dream for. So for that to come true is really, really cool.
All right, thanks, Jeremy.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
We'll be joined by Parker Brailsford next.
Just an awesome player. That guy, man. Well, just a respectable young man out here leading people. I wonder if he asked that guy, he said,
"Who's your daddy, girl?
Who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy?"
You. Uh-huh.
You. That's what he was asking the DBs when he caught that ball over that back up in Oklahoma. He was like, "Who's your daddy? Who's your dad? Who's your daddy?" And Blake, man, let me tell you something, man. You asked one more question about a 17, 18-year-old kid who really ain't gonna be playing, who only not even possible to play.
I'm gonna scissor kick you in the back of the head.
Just know that, Blake. I'm sure somebody loves you somewhere, but I don't like you calling coaches by their first name. And you sound like my baby girl when she was 7 years old when she, when you did it. I wish you would stick to what's going on in the next 5 days. I understand you get paid to do that job, but let me be the first to say that you could get better. You know what I'm saying? Because the questions that you be asking, every time you ask a question, first of all, you start off like, "Hey, Kaylin, tell me about this." And just talk about my little background here for a minute. I'm not doing this. Is just the facts, folks. If you look up here, this shows you the ranked teams that Indiana's played. There's 3 of them. Now, one they beat 53-10. So the question says, how would they rank? Why they rank that high? And I'm gonna look this up real quick. I want to look at the AP football rankings. Now they beat a number 9 team. 63-10. Now, even if Alabama played Kentucky, then played Arkansas, I think they are the bottom dwellers of the SEC for right now. Ain't no way in the world we beating them 63-10. All right. So what I want to do now is find out, where is Illinois today? Illinois. They're not in the top 25. But see, I'm going somewhere with this for just 1 minute. It's one of the things I get into at the end of the season. But I just want to do this. This is what is this? The college football rankings. They said college football playoff rankings. Of course, nobody under 25 would be ranked. So let me go to the AP. Where does the AP have Illinois ranked? Let's see. Illinois received 2 votes to enter the top 25. They're not in, but they're really behind Houston, Iowa, Tennessee, New Mexico, Duke, Boise State, UNLV, South Florida, SMU, Louisville, Arizona State, UConn, Washington, Kennesaw State, Pittsburgh, 16. They would be ranked 41st today. 41st. And how did their season end up? Let's see. Schedules. I guess I go to Big Ten. Oh God, what is that? Teams. Let me just look at teams. That's taking too long. Where did Illinois end up? The Big Shin. The Big Shin. Where did Illinois? Yeah, here you go. Illinois number 9, and when they beat them 63-10, they ended up 8-4, 7th in the Big Ten. So I'm just pinpointing this out. 63-10. Was that really a number 9 team? Just saying. Their best win to me was over a ranked opponent was against Oregon, and then Ohio State was a heck of a win. I just like the fact that they beat them by 10 points. And I think they may have beat him on the road. Moving on. Back to the press conference. Here comes Mr. Parker. Got all my doggone hair. Brailsford. I was wondering what my hair was. Parker got it. Yep, he's been taking it for years. Matter of fact, he was taking it before he was born.
We're talking about Parker Brailsford.
Look at that hair.
Let's go ahead and get into questions. Let's
Shout out to you. I had hair. That's why I wear my.
I think Coach Cap mentioned that your injury typically for most players is like a month injury, and you were back pretty quickly. Just what was it like, kind of going through the rehab, and what things did you have to do in that?
I mean, obviously I trust the training room, and they were telling me that there was a good chance that I'll be back sooner than what people usually are back by. I mean, obviously fighting through injuries is tough, but they did a really good job of just like helping me through that process, mentally as well. Just figuring out how I'd be able to go by Saturday.
Let's go to the far left, Will.
What's your impression of just being on this stage and having the opportunity to play in this game after you guys have had so many critical games in this recent stretch? How do you feel this team's mentality is, and how ready do you feel that this team is to play in the Rose Bowl?
I feel like we're ready to go. I feel like this team is a team of fighters. And to answer the Rose Bowl question, I mean, I'm from the West Coast, kinda. I'm from Arizona, so being from out there, it's always been a dream to play in the Rose Bowl. So, I mean, I'm excited for this one.
Let's go to Joe, right in the middle of the room.
Parker, I've been asking everybody about the Jeremy Bernard Moss catch in the fourth quarter. Obviously, on an RPO, it's tough for an offensive lineman to see what happens down the field. When did you realize that Ty did take that shot, and when did you kind of were able to grasp the impressiveness of Jeremy's catch, and what did that do for y'all as an offense?
I mean, what it did for us, it turned us up. It got us fired up. But yeah, so I was blocking my guy, right? And then, I didn't even know what really happened, to be honest. I just seen Jerm with the ball down the field, and the ball kind of came out, so I'm running to the ball, and I don't really know what happened. The ref called it a complete catch, and then, that was that.
Let's go to Blake on the far right.
Blake.
What kind of advice have you given to Chris Booker as an early enrollee, and just what has he shown you in these first couple of days of practice?
I haven't had too many opportunities to talk to him, but from what I pretty much told him was just, like coming in as a freshman, it's a lot. Like it's a big transition. Obviously, just being able to keep your head down and putting to work every single day is a big thing that has helped me going from when I was a freshman playing scout team to where I am now. So yeah.
Jamie, you got a question back row right?
Indiana's defense has been tough in the trenches. How do you approach physicality early to set the tone on offense? I mean,
just like you said, physicality early. But I mean, they're a great team. They don't mess up on almost anything. They're very disciplined. So it's a great front seven for sure, and it's going to be a challenge for us. But I think we're ready for it.
Any other questions for Parker? Let's finish up with Nick. Nick on the front right.
Yeah, Coach Grove mentioned that they've got guys who can get off blocks type of deals. So what are you guys going to do or try to do to make sure that that doesn't happen?
Hit them hard and fast.
I mean, it really comes down to just outstraining our opponent. That's really what it is every week. Their D tackle, they're a nose guard. I mean, he's a good player. Like he's good at using leverage. He has good hands. good at getting off blocks, all that. So, I mean, just being able to outstrain him and, being able to go essentially harder than he can is basically my goal.
Hard.
All right, thank you, Parker.
Appreciate y'all.
Hit that man in the chest, make him go. Look, I'm just thinking, Parker Brailsford, love the hair, but I think next time going forward, when he goes pro, Ty Simpson may have to get him like if y'all remember, Key and Peele had the anger translator for President Obama. I think Ty Simpson's gonna need an anger translator. He's such a nice guy, such a good guy. I just don't want people to misconstrue that this man is not intense, this man is not driven, that his all shucks is really a lot more. I just want him to get somebody and really tell people what's going down, and it don't take to the second quarter to get us there. All right, I think who's coming up next? The Jam. Whoa, Jam. Jam.
All right, we're going to finish up with Jam Miller. Just raise your hand if you have a question for Jam, and we'll get right into it. Let's start on the far left with Will.
Coach Grubb said he wants to see the running game get going earlier against Indiana. What are some of the ways that you see that you guys can make an impact in the early stages of the game?
It's all about preparation. It all starts off in practice, just building a relationship with the online, just working with each other, just to get that running game going.
Let's go to Joe in the middle of the room.
You said it's all about preparation. What do you see in your preparation in this Indiana front? I believe they're top 3 in the nation in rush defense.
Indiana, they a great team. Watching their film, they hardly make any mistakes. So preparation is going to be a big thing during this game. It's all about who could do their job the best.
Let's go to the far right to Charlie.
That thing crunk up.
You obviously missed some time because of injury. Just how are you feeling, and how good was it to get back on the field for the team?
All the injuries, I'm good now, 100% healthy. Just be able to be in the game with the team now, it's always a great feeling. Just being with the brothers.
Go to the far right. Stay on the far right with Nick.
Yeah, what do you remember from that Rose Bowl 2 years ago?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody know that was a bad feeling. We was right there, but everything happened for a reason. And now we get a second chance to go out there and just prove everybody wrong.
All right, let's go to the front left over to Chase.
Just getting back to how you're feeling physically a little bit, what did the week off ahead before the Oklahoma game do for you?
Everybody know we got a great training staff here, so I did a lot of training, just getting my body ready, just getting ready to prepare for that game.
We do have a question from the Zoom. Let's go to the Zoom. We'll take the question from Colin Gay. Go ahead, Colin, when you're ready.
Hey, Jam. Obviously, this is the first time that Alabama has ever faced Indiana. I mean, what's kind of the impression of, Indiana from afar, or kind of the battle between the SEC, the Big Ten, things like that?
It ain't really no difference. It's a whole nother team. Everybody's there. They do the same thing we do. We eat, sleep, breathe. It's just a whole nother opponent in our way.
They're men.
All right, let's finish up here on the front right with Nick.
Yeah, I should ask that question in a better way. What can you take from that Rose Bowl experience to help you the second time around?
Just better preparation. To be able to execute. Just everybody go out there and just do everything 110% instead of 100%. You just got to beat our opponent at the end of the day.
All right, thank you, Jam.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
I think that's everybody. Is that everybody? Yep, we're almost at the very end of it. Yeah, and just pinpointing, we talked about Indiana. We were able to lose to 2 nationally ranked teams that are still ranked, by the way, in top 25. And we also beat them. Vandy, Missouri, I don't know what happened to Missouri last night. Also beat Tennessee. Alabama, sometimes you just try by fire, man. You remember that commercial with the Marines? I think I was in high school, or I don't know, about whatever I was doing. I was like, can't nothing be as good as holding one of them doggone Marines. I promise you I almost did it. But the way my heart set up, they was like forged by fire. That I guess they all get the that sword with their dress uniform after they finish training and everything. It's some things that just get forged by fire. When they take that piece of iron and put it in there and it's flopping around, it's all loose and everything, and they stick it in that fire and they beat on it and they do this and they beat on it, whatever. They take that lump and they did whatever that iron is and they turn it into that sword. That thing is almost unbreakable by most things. It becomes strong because it's been tested by fire. Now you look at these schedules up here and tell me who's been tested by fire. Let me get my big old head out the way. Look at you. Tell me who's been tested by fire, who's been tried by fire, who's been through the ups and downs and the headaches. Who you think? They're 13-0. But on those other 10 games, who you was playing? Who were you playing? They beat Ohio State. Yeah, in the Big Ten championship. But who were they playing? The FSU game make us look goofy. But who are these guys playing? We were tested. The Crimson Tide has been. We started off in the blacksmith over in the corner as a lump of iron ore or whatever the heck that is. We got forged into that steel that makes those swords. This is what this means to play teams like this. When you look back, you're like, man, we could have been 14-0. Okay. This man's second year as the coach. Ryan Grubb's first year as OC. Nick Saban went from 2007, his trajectory went like this, and he won that championship in 3 years. Nick Saban, year 2, played for the SEC championship, lost to Florida, if I'm not mistaken. We lost the SEC championship, but we were given life because of this playoff situation. I'm not saying what we're going to do. I'm worried about Indiana, but we are in a great place, and we are tried by fire in the process. Look at these teams. So anyway, I ain't gonna translate it for Ty. Thank God we was saved from having to listen. We were saved from having to listen to Blake's one more Blake's week A question. I mean, Blake, boy. I don't know what to say, man. You just be wasting opportunities. You could be adding something to the conversation, but you know what? I like to talk to your boss. That's what I like to do.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. I got to get out of here, folks. Talking too long. I don't deserve as much of your time. I thank you for your time. And like I said, this is not exclusive, but this is a special offensive edition. I just want to drop this to you guys today. I will produce another video like this for the defense. And they need to bring the special team. Special teams now. Indiana got special teams. I don't know, but I don't know if we got special teams that can upset their special teams. But I would like to hear from my special team coach at some point soon. I ain't seen them on the press. I don't even know who it is. But Talty has gotten better. But after that Oklahoma goofiness, and I think Georgia, but especially Oklahoma, yeah, it was Oklahoma and Georgia. Yeah, he need to hit the press conference stage too. So whoever out there in Alabama that can make that happen, hey, sit that man up there on the podium. Just don't let Blake ask him no damn questions. And with that, I'm out of here. And always remember, folks, roll, tide, roll.